We're back. Hydro & Co. episode, episode 3, but recapping week 2, talking about a little bit about week 3. But mainly we're going to be talking about all things week 2 NFL season. Crazy week. Out of 16 games, 10 of the teams that won came on the road. So a lot of that's kind of interesting. Not very common you see that many road teams winning in 1 week. But all 3 of our teams had different levels of success or failure this week. So we got varying perspective on what happened this week. So Chase, last night still pretty fresh. It's we're less than 24 hours removed. So I'm just gonna let you have the floor, and you go ahead. You talk about your game, and me and Kendall will sit here in solidarity.
Okay, so I thought we were doing this in order of like chronologically, but all right, we'll start with me. I wish this game was on Sunday where I could at least get my emotions in check, but unfortunately, it's still fresh. It's been less than 24 hours. Middleman was it a fun ride until it wasn't. But the Eagles lost. I can't remember the score because I forgot. I think it was what 22-21, and there was a lot of good, I think, and there was plenty of bad. Um, Funny enough, the defense was really bad, and the offense was pretty good, I think. Um, Jalen played like he played in 2022, which was nice to see. He was running all over the place, lowering his shoulder, fighting for yards after contact. It was nice. We were without AJ Brown, and even then, the offense still didn't look terrible. Saquon looked fantastic until he didn't. And we all know what happened there. If you watched the game or even turned on the TV this morning, you know exactly what happened. But yeah, we had a very good chance of being 2-0 going into the next game in New Orleans. But instead, we are now 1-1. We are going to New Orleans, following it up against Tampa at Tampa, and we may be without AJ Brown. Bijan ran all over us. A terrible podcaster and did not pull up the stats from last night's game, but I believe he had like 7 yards to carry, if I'm not mistaken. 6.9. He ran 14 carries, 97 yards. And even Tyler Algier had a decent game against us. Kurt had all the time in the world in the pocket because we had no pass rush. In fact, any of us that are listening or sitting here talking could have sat in that pocket and found somebody open and made and completed a pass probably, because there was no pressure at all whatsoever. And us Eagles fans, we were like, hey, it was because of the terrible field conditions in Brazil. That's why we couldn't get it. I even said it last week. Now we had good field conditions and we still couldn't get to the quarterback. So that'll be something that's talked about all week long, which is unfortunate because the biggest thing that's going to be talked about all week long is Saquon dropping the ball. And there is like a 50-50 split on like social media on where people stand in that situation. So let me refresh your guys' memory. It was, I believe it was 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. The Falcons have no timeouts left. We're at like the 15-ish yard line, right? You can run the ball, maybe pick up the first down. If you don't, 40 seconds runs off the clock. So that's a win in itself. Or you can get kind of aggressive, pass the ball. You run the risk of the ball not being caught and the time stops. Or what looked like was going to happen is he catches it, gets the first down, ices the game. Unfortunately, Saquon dropped it. Now here we are. So even then, after all that happened, I still think we should have went for it, because at that point, the Falcons wouldn't be so dead set on a touchdown. They would be playing to probably tie it. However, we saw how that last possession went. They were moving the ball at a crazy rate. But I don't know. The big thing is the coaching staff and their decisions, and it was just a terrible meltdown. And the thing is, we're going to overreact because we're Eagles fans. But the thing that's very true is we saw how last year ended, and that game felt like the Seattle Seahawks game from last year, where we had the lead, we blew it, and then of course Jalen throws a pick in the game. I don't blame Jalen at all. I think Jalen had a great game. I think the offense looked good, but man, oh man, that was tough to watch, and I'm still fired up about it. But it's okay. We're on the next week.
All right. Well, Kendall, you want to follow that up with your Raiders recap?
Well, actually,
Yeah.
before we do that, sorry. What do you think? What would you want your guy? Okay, actually, screw that. You guys are the coach of a team. You're in that situation, 3rd and 3, with the time and everything. You guys were watching the game, I'm assuming. What would you have done in that situation? Kendall, I'll start with you.
I like the play call. I've done exactly that. I just think play just got to be executed.
Would you have went for it on 4th and 3?
At that point, yes, because they would have just been looking for a field goal, like you had said.
Yeah,
your defense would have been different. You'd have just been kind of giving them middle of the field, make them burn their timeouts, stuff like that, and they would have had to kick field goal. They're going to overtime. Worst case scenario.
Right. And Wyatt, in case you guys don't know, has coached Big Tom Ball. So he's been a great coach. He schemes plays on the offense. So this is the guy we need to ask. Wyatt, what would you have done in the situation?
I would have ran the ball on 3rd and 4 with the full intention to go for it on 4th down if it didn't work. I think Saquon, based on what I had seen, with 2 rushes could get 4 yards at that point in the game. But if, let's say, he gets fucking stuffed on 3rd down and you come out and pass on 4th down, worst case scenario, you're running 40 seconds off the clock on 3rd down anyway, and then, throw for it on 4th, try to get your 1st down, that's the game. I would have went for it in a heartbeat. I'm in full belief of you need to be in control of your own destiny, especially on offense. I hate leaving game-winning drives up to a defense. I would rather the offense ice the game than the defense have to make a stop at the end of the game. So I would have went for it too.
And if Saquon gets 2 yards there, or even a yard, guess what? We have the greatest short yardage play in the history of football. We're going to push that tush, but we didn't get the opportunity to do it. So, but Kendall,
push.
I'll let you do your thing now. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry.
No, you're good, bud. I've only been waiting 8.5 minutes into this recording for this moment right here. My main takeaway from the Raiders game Sunday is Raiders.
I'm glad it peaked.
How about that fucking win right there, boys? How about that? Going into Baltimore and stealing one from the Ravens. All right. Now, first half, this game was ugly on offense. It was, I can't remember if they said all time or since like the Stone Age, like 50s or 60s, but we had like the least amount of offensive yards in franchise history or since like the 1960s. It was absolutely pathetic. And then Max Crosby lit an absolute fire under Gardner Minshew, said the hell with whatever play call that Luke Getsy's trying to give you with these screens and stuff. You just find number 17 and you find 89, Devontae Adams, Brock Bowers, and they're going to make some plays. That's exactly what he did in the second half. He finished with 276 yards passing, and I'd be willing to bet at least 240 of those were second half. He was on fire. He was finding Devontae early and often after halftime, after Brock Bowers over and over again. The running game has to get going. We've got to be able to help out a quarterback like Gardner, but Gardner played great. And Max Crosby is an absolute menace to society. I absolutely love that man. And what a win in Baltimore. That's all I got to say.
All right. Well, I've been waiting 10 minutes for this. Who dat, bitch? That's all I got to say about that.
All right. After all the energy I brought, that was weak as hell.
I didn't want to peek, who dat say gonna beat them Saints? Not the fucking Cowgirls. That's for fucking sure. I said it on the podcast earlier in the week that I was confident in the matchup that we brought to play Dallas, and we walked into Jerry's World and we caught them with their pants down and we beat their fucking ass. You know, Kendall, you just talked about how you had a terrible offensive first half performance. We sure as hell did not. We scored 35 points in the first half. Derek Carr, 11 for 16, 243 and 2 tuds with a rushing touchdown. You know, little hee hee. You know, he fucking hit that shit. Looked corny as fuck, but I loved it at the same time. That ball to Rashid Shaheed, when he threw that ball, I stood up out of my recliner. Rashid Shaheed comes down with it, and I could feel my fucking heart just fucking pounding. Like I was so fucking excited. I probably haven't been that excited as a Saints fan since before Drew Brees retired. And I was just so fucking happy to see the offense finally with some life and we could get vertical and just take the top off of a defense again. Alvin Kamara went nuclear. 4 touchdowns, 3 on the ground, 1 in the air. We played really good defense. Honestly, at one point it was too good. We were playing so physical that we overshot a tackle on CD, and it kind of looked like the Minnesota Miracle for a second, and he took off down the field, scored a touchdown. Kind of gave me like Vietnam War flashbacks. But it was all right. But the big thing about this game that I noticed was just how well Clint Kubiak is doing as the offensive coordinator of the Saints. A lot of similarities to the 49ers offense. I know he's a Shanahan guy, so obviously there's going to be some similarities, like a lot of pre-snap motion. Taysom's kind of getting put in the juice check role, lining up at different spots on the field. Like he's playing a lot of fullback, he's playing a lot of halfback. He doesn't really take many direct quarterback snaps compared to what he had been doing. Like usually, like one of my biggest knocks on Taysom was anytime he got the ball on 3rd and short, it was a direct snap to him and he was taking it up the gut, and it just got predictable. Clint Kubiak has completely threw that out the window. You don't know what Taysom is doing play to play, and he is on the field a lot more. So it's really cool to see them kind of throw him in different packages and let him just be a mainstay in the offense instead of just kind of a gadget guy. We're running the ball really well. I saw a stat. We haven't allowed a negative rushing yard to the left side of the offensive line all season. That's really awesome to say, considering our left tackle's a rookie. Talisa Fuaga has been playing great, and we've scored on 14 out of 16 drives to start the season. Scored over 80 points. We're just playing insane offensive football right now, but our defense is also backing it up. So I'm excited to see how we play the Eagles this next week. That's probably our biggest test going to be. I don't think we're going to drop 40 plus on the Eagles again. Hey, I would love to. I would love to whoop your ass, but I don't expect it. And I think we need a good test, especially with the Chiefs the week after. So, but it will be good to see, and I'm super impressed with how we played. So,
yeah. You should be, bud. You should be.
It's a great fucking feeling, I'll tell you that. But all right, boys. So we're gonna get into our burns of the week. We're gonna burn each game a little bit different this time. Instead of me talking for 20 fucking minutes, we all picked the games. Well, really, me and Kendall picked games, and Chase got the scraps. Sorry, Chase. You're just late to the chat at that point. So we all have our games, and we're gonna just go one after another until we're through them all. So I'll go ahead and start. First game I got is the Thursday night game, Dolphins-Bills. Our Alabama quarterbacks cooked because Tua looked like Polynesian Daniel Jones on Thursday night, and the only one cooking was James Cook with 3 tuds, which just so happened to be how many interceptions Tua threw before DeMar Hamlin had him throwing fucking gang signs. So, poor Tua. It happened again. It's ironic it was DeMar Hamlin. Josh Allen's hand injury didn't get any better from whooping the Dolphins' ass. 31-10 final.
All right. My first game that I'm going to recap is Lions-Bucks. Aiden Hutchinson this game had 4.5 sacks, and the Lions held the Bucks to barely 200 yards of offense. and they still managed to fall to the Bucs 20-16. Chris Godwin looked good. He's pretty much all the offense the Bucs had on Sunday. On the flip side, Amon-Ra was back, but the Lions beat themselves. They had 2 picks, 2 failed fourth down conversions, so that's 4 turnovers. It's just not winning football. Bucs do deserve some credit, but in my opinion, this was more of the Lions beating themselves and just an off game for Jared Goff, just poor ball security.
Well, my burn's gonna be like 5 seconds. Like, good for you guys. The Seahawks beat the Patriots 23-20, and they need overtime to do so. This Patriots team, led by Jacoby Brissett, was supposed to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, but they've actually ended up being one of the more surprising teams so far. The Seahawks had big days from DK Metcalf and JSN, each going over 100 yards receiving. There we go.
All right. My next game is Bengals Chiefs. The Battle of Burrowhead. It usually never disappoints, and that stays true this time around. The Bengals, who lost to the damn Patriots last week, came to play behind a strong performance from Joe Burrow, but it all came down to Jamar Chase pissing off the refs, and it came back to bite him in the ass on 4th and 16, where normally an incompletion became a pass interference, which led to a Harrison Butker field goal to win the game. Chiefs win 26-25.
All right, Jags Browns. Did Deshaun Watson shut us up from last week? Not really. Yes, the Browns got the win. Yes, the Browns got the win 18-13, but this game showed more of what the Jags aren't, more than what Deshaun is, and that Deshaun could be back. Pretty boring game for the most part. There's 8 punts combined, a missed field goal, several other made field goals. Very little excitement in this game. Jags need to just figure out something soon, and the Browns managed to get the job done.
The Vikings shock the 49ers and the world as Sam Darnold has his revenge game. That was awesome. That's a headline, right?
Hell yeah.
I guess the former team beats them 23-17. However, the 49ers will be without Debo. And let's not forget, they're going to be without CMC for the next couple of weeks. Will the 49ers find a way to survive? That question's up in there.
All right. Next game I have, Steelers-Broncos. Broncos country, it's time for the return of Russell Wilson. Well, not really. For the second straight week, Justin Fields will be the starter for Pittsburgh. And he goes out and tries to beat the Broncos. Only 36 rushes this week. That's down from like the 47 they had the week prior. Only 36, which allowed Justin to air the ball out a little bit, hitting Darnell Washington for his first career NFL touchdown. So congratulations to him. You had that. You had 2 Chris Boswell field goals, and that's all you needed to beat a Broncos team plagued by turnovers, and also had no runner over 25 yards rushing. That is not a great formula to win a football game if you're going to turn the ball over 3 times and not be able to rush for more than 25 yards as a running back. So Steelers win again, 13-6.
Rams Cardinals. Kyler Murray was absolutely unconscious this game. He went 17 for 21 passing, 266 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. A vast majority of that was all in the first half, as they were up by a lot in a massacre game that was unexpected. Rookie Marvin Harrison Jr. showed up and showed out. Cooper Kupp is expected to miss some time as he had a noticeable limp from this game. Rams are in trouble.
This one, there's not much to talk about, but we're going to do it anyway. We're going to try. The Panthers continue to be the worst team in the NFL, and Quentin Johnston finally shows some promise after a terrible rookie season. The question I have on this one is, when will the Panthers win a game? Not anytime soon. But, however, there is hope. Andy Dalton's taking over. Bryce Young is sitting down. Can this team, with all the weapons around them, win a game?
I'd be scared to be the Raiders next week. I'm just going to say it.
Dude, yeah, I'd rather play Bryce Young.
All right. The next game I have is Commanders versus Giants. Following a tough loss to the Minnesota Vikings last week, the Daniel Jones-led New York Football Giants traveled to D.C. to take on the Commanders. Daniel Jones was actually not bad, finally being able to connect with rookie wide receiver Malik Neighbors for 10 receptions for 127 yards and a tud. Devin Singletary also got into the game got into the end zone as well. But the real MVP of this game is Commanders kicker Adam Siebert. 7 for 7 on field goal attempts this week, including the game winner. The string of dominant kicker performances continue as Adam Siebert and the Commanders win 21-18.
Jets, Titans. Will Levis and the Jets beat the Titans 24-17. Will Levis in this game had 2 horrible turnovers. He had a pick and a double coverage because all he does is launch the ball deep. And he had a horrible fumble in this game. So he was trying to avoid a sack late in the fourth – or no, not the fourth quarter. What am I talking about? Early first quarter. Tried to pitch the ball backwards to Tony Pollard instead of just taking the sack. Ends up being a turnover and a fumble. He's got to clean up those boneheaded mistakes for this team to even have a fighting chance to beat anybody. Jets offense looked but was good enough to beat this team. Titans may need to start looking for a quarterback soon.
C.J. Stroud and the Texans survived the Caleb Williams-led Chicago Bears. The score was 19-13, but it felt like the Texans were in control for most of the night. Side note, did anyone notice how over it DJ Moore was? I did. Let's hope Caleb Williams can figure it out soon, or the vibes might not be too high in Chicago.
All right. Last game I have here is not a great one. Colts-Packers. Without Jordan Love playing, the Packers turned to quarterback Malik Willis, of all people, to take on a strong Colts team. How will they fare up? Pretty damn well, I'd say. Not too long into the game, I knew, you guys knew, the coaches knew, and the players knew that the Packers were going to run the fucking ball, and the Colts still struggled to stop them. They ran for 50-plus rushing attempts in this game and did it in a dominant fashion. AR5 struggled, throwing 3 interceptions, one at the very end of the game. Jonathan Taylor had a pretty solid game for over 100 yards rushing, but it was not enough to win. Packers win 16-10. All right. So those are our week 2 burns. A lot of close matchups, a lot of good games, and a lot of shit games too. So moving on to something that we did last week, Ass of the Week. Chase, who was your Ass of the Week?
This is going to come as no surprise. I mentioned them earlier in this podcast, and I want to mention them again. The whole Eagles defensive line. I mean, like I said, you couldn't sack the most immobile quarterback in the game right now. Or you did, but it took you until the third quarter to do so. Against a team that allowed, I can't remember how many sacks it was last week. It's like 6, I think. And then you let Bijan and Tyler Algier just gas you for yards like that. It's going to be a long season, man.
Kendall.
My Ass of the Week goes to Anthony Richardson because he lost to Malik Willis and he threw 3 picks in the process of doing so.
Fair enough. All right. My Ass of the Week goes to the Cowboys defensive line. They allowed 190 rushing yards and got 1 sack in the process. With all the talk of Michael Parsons being this, that, and a bag of chips, he got fucking worked this week. And like I said earlier, the Saints were able to run the ball to the left side of the line the entire game and not allow 1 single negative yard rush. So I would say that is pretty dominating fashion from an offensive line that I might add that was supposed to be dog shit. I had 0 confidence in this position group going into the season, and they have proven me and the world wrong. So I'm glad to see that. But moving on into our game ball pick of the week. Kendall, who are you giving your game ball to this week?
I got to have one segment in this show besides our own team recaps to have a little bias, but my game ball goes to Max Crosby. He was living in the backfield all day. He had 2 sacks. He could have had 1 or 2 more. But Lamar's one of the more shifty quarterbacks of all time. He's obviously going to get away from some of them. He had 4 tackles for loss, 3 of those on Derrick Henry. 1, he absolutely just lit up Derrick Henry. It was awesome to see. And he had a pass defense. And then the last thing I want to touch on is his off the field like on the sideline leadership, because after Gardner threw that pick, went over there, hyped him up, told him to keep his head up, get in the game, we got you. And they did ultimately hold him to a field goal that drive. And that, to me, that woke Gardner up for the second half. So my game ball goes to Max Crosby.
Chase?
This guy really doesn't deserve a game ball. He didn't do anything too crazy, but Kendall's going to hate this one. I mentioned him earlier as well. Quentin Johnston. He had a terrible rookie year, and I think this could be a turnaround game for him. I liked him coming out of college. He had 5 receptions, 51 yards, and 2 touchdowns, which already matches his rookie season. So, hey, who knows? Maybe he'll turn out to be something after all.
All right. Like Kendall, I'm going to stay biased here, and I'm going to give the game ball to the Saints defense. In 2 weeks, Saints defense has allowed 2 touchdowns. They have had 4 interceptions, 7 sacks, and 25 QB pressures. And that all was able to really come to a head against a Cowboys offense that is it's not a scrub. I mean, we were able to really shut CD down other than that long touchdown throw. That honestly, if you ran that play 10 times, it's probably a touchdown 1 time. They were too over aggressive with the tackling, and they let them get loose. So I think the Saints defense is one of the better defenses in all of football right now, and I think they should be recognized for it.
Well, I want to throw an honorable mention game ball out there since I thought Wyatt was going to go. Alvin Kamara, anybody? 4 touchdowns, however many yards. He's almost single-handedly won my fantasy matchup by himself. So I just wanted him to get recognized.
I honestly thought one of y'all two was going to pick Kamara, so I kind of went off the path a little bit. I didn't expect him to also pick or for you to pick Max Crosby. I honestly thought you'd have picked Kamara because of the fantasy implications. So
I thought you'd pick AK just because he was on your team. But hey, we mentioned him. It's all good.
It's all that matters. He sure as hell deserves it.
I didn't mention my team, so I stay true. Unbiased.
All right. So moving on to our next segment here. We're 2 weeks in, and 2 weeks into the season, there's a lot of overreactions on teams. You got some teams that are 0-2. You got some teams that are 2-0. And let's start with these 2-0 teams. Who are our pretenders and who are our contenders? I have the list of the teams here. We can just go through them one by one and kind of talk about, if we want to talk about them, if it's obvious, you don't have to explain your reasoning if you don't want to. But let's just start here with the LA Chargers. I'm just going to say it. I don't need an explanation. They're fucking pretenders. They're not going to be able to win games down a lot. They're not going to be able to come back in games because they run the ball too much. So that's all I got for them.
Yeah, they beat a Panthers team, and they beat us whenever our offense was trying to figure stuff out. So I'm not taking anything they've done with any kind of weight. They're pretenders.
They've only allowed 13 points so far, so I'm going to give them the good old stamp of contenders from me.
Okay.
They'll make the playoffs.
Alrighty.
Raiders won't.
No, what the hell?
Okay, moving on to another team in that division, the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they're obvious contenders for many reasons, whether it's the refs, Taylor Swift, them just being a good football team, and everything in between. That makes them contenders.
Say it. Say it, Kendall. Say it.
They're pretenders. They're soft as hell.
Get the fuck out of here.
Pretenders.
Oh,
right. We whooped their ass last time we lined up against them. Pretenders.
Chase.
They're contenders.
Okay.
I'll speak for Kendall as well. They're contenders.
All right. Moving on to a team that I don't think we'll have a whole lot of argument over. It's the Texans. I think they're pretty solid contenders. Does anyone disagree with that?
They're contenders. Yeah.
They're contenders, but I don't think they're as high on the list, like on my list, as maybe like your guys. They're barely squeaking by, I think.
Okay. All right. I'm interested to see this next one. Pittsburgh Steelers.
This one was one of the harder ones for me. If you're taking it of like, are they contenders to make the playoffs? Yes. Are they contenders to do anything in the playoffs? No, I don't think they are. But
Simple question, bud. Just
I'll just say they can make the playoffs. I'll say contenders.
Chase.
They're not offensively. They're struggling, but they're not doing they're not doing much of anything. They beat a terrible Broncos team and they beat a Falcons team that we couldn't beat. So maybe they are contenders, but I'm gonna put them pretenders.
Oh, I'm
So
putting them as pretenders as well.
So what happens when the Steelers beat the Chargers this week?
They
Does that get
won't,
flipped?
They won't.
Okay, all right, we'll see.
All right. All right, moving on to the Buffalo Bills.
They got Josh Allen. They're contenders, especially with Tua going down. Jets haven't figured it out yet. They're contenders.
Patriots are right there, bud. They're right there.
They're only not NAS because you won week 1.
I mean, they're contenders, but I'm not too confident. No.
Yeah, I'm not that confident. No,
They're contenders as well for me. The next team, I already know where this. The New Orleans Saints.
I'll start. I think they are contenders because this offense through 2 games. Everybody say what you want about the Cowboys, but I think the general consensus would be they have a very good defense, and Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara were making that look like shit. So contenders.
Cowboys defense is dog shit. But they're contenders. But I will say this to you, Wyatt. I know all too well about starting off really hot. It's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. But so if this is your best football, oh boy, you're in for a rude awakening come December and January.
Well, good thing this is not our best football.
Oh shit!
We're only 2 weeks into a brand new offensive scheme, and we're already busting teams' ass. So, give me a contender. Click Kubiak. It's been nice knowing you because at this rate, you're going to be a head coach somewhere next year. Moving on. Another team in this shitty ass division. I'll go ahead and start. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are fucking pretenders. They're not going to win the division, therefore they're not going to make the playoffs because there's not fucking 2 teams from the NFC South making the playoffs. So just from that observation alone, they are pretenders.
I'm going to say they're contenders. I could very easily see this division coming down at the end of the year to the Saints and the Bucs. So I think that's going to be a good race. So I got them as contenders.
Be a sad day in Tampa Bay.
They're contenders. They just beat the Lions, who we were all high on.
No, Kendall said it himself. The Lions beat themselves.
Well,
They beat shit.
The Eagles beat themselves too, but I'm never going to get that. So it's all good.
Dog shit.
All right. This one's interesting.
I'm still Chargers. Dog shit.
Oh, okay.
The Minnesota Vikings are 2-0. Sam Darnold. Is he him? I don't think so. I think they're pretenders. I just don't see a world in which the Vikings make the playoffs. I could be dead fucking wrong, but I think they're pretenders.
I think that they have a chance to make us look like idiots. I do. I think they could make the playoffs, but I also am going pretenders.
I'm kind of in the middle because they got a nice little 2-headed monster in the backfield. Sam Darnold's okay, so he won't win you games, but he won't lose you games. We got Justin Jefferson. Pretenders.
All right.
And the last 2-0 team on the list is the Seattle Seahawks.
Pretenders.
Pretenders. All right. Moving on to our 0-2 teams. Are we worried about these teams or is it time to hit the panic button? And this first team, it is fucking dead obvious. It is time to hit the panic button. And they already have. And that's the Carolina Panthers.
They already did it themselves.
They hit the panic button.
They're bringing out Andy Dalton.
Yeah, the Andy Dalton. They have a little glass box in their facility that says Andy Dalton, and they fucking took the hammer and broke it and pushed the button. So, all right, moving on from them.
Chase.
Do you have an alternate opinion?
Their panic button started like in April, whenever they didn't figure out anything at all, and they kept Bryce Young as their quarterback. So
fair enough. All right, this team here, 0-2, not typical territory for this team. LA Rams.
I'm hitting the panic button for one reason and one reason only. That's injuries. This team is getting just killed left and right with the injury bug.
is Puka on IR?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Cooper
Cup's
going on IR.
not yet, but they're not ruling it out.
Man, Kyron Williams, man. Hey, if you own Kyron Williams in fantasy, you're going to get some run. So, but yeah, that's the same reason I'm going to hit the panic button for them, is just because injuries, and those are like the most significant injuries that you could possibly have on this team.
Minus Matthew Stafford, yes.
But
hey, they got Stetson Bennett, baby.
Nah.
Am I hitting the panic button on the LA Chargers or LA Rams? No. I'm not hitting the panic button on the LA Rams. I think Tyler Johnson and Jordan Whittington are going to be fucking studs. I talked about Jordan Whittington in our very first episode. And if these two motherfuckers can come out, I don't think they're going to beat the 49ers this week, so I think they're going to start 0-3. But if they could stay a game behind or at 500 until they get back, I think they'll be okay.
All right, real quick, I'm a timeout. You think they beat the 49ers?
No.
It's 0-3. You think they beat the Bears at Chicago?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go 1-3. Packers, Jordan Love will be back by then.
It'll be like his first game back, so yeah.
Raiders.
Too much confidence.
Raiders.
Yeah.
Nah, I think you got way too much confidence, buddy. I don't think they're winning any of those games without those two receivers.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. They got some fucking people in their back pocket. Sean McVay knows, man. I have faith. We'll see. We'll come back to this in 3 weeks.
I have a genuine question for you. How are the Rams going to score points on the 49ers, Bears, Packers, or Raiders defenses?
Hey, they're just going to have to throw the motherfucker. Hope they're going to have to run. They're going to say, hey, like, was it DeMarcus Robinson or whatever the fuck his name is?
Yeah, dog shit.
You're Cooper Kupp, Tyler Johnson, you're Puka Nacua. Go run the routes.
Yeah, but then you're also running into Jair, Jalen Johnson, and the 49ers defense.
I didn't say they beat the 49ers. That one's tough.
I'm just saying.
Hey, then again, Justin Jefferson without Jordan Addison, and actually half the game without Justin Jefferson, they cooked their ass with Sam Darnold.
I don't see it.
I'm telling you. I see. I think they'll be okay. I think they'll still make the playoffs.
We'll revisit. Oh, hell no. We'll revisit this in a couple of weeks.
All right. Next team
mark that down.
is the New York Football Giants. And I'll start. I'm hitting the fucking panic button because you paid Daniel Jones so much fucking money and now you're stuck with him. And he's flippy-floppy to the point where you can't just like set him down. But he's not good enough to where you're going to succeed with him either. So you're in like this football purgatory. And I feel bad for Giants fans out there.
Daniel Jones, one of Wyatt LaPrad's many great takes over the years. Top 5 quarterback. Yeah.
I also said that about Blake Bortles. So it's not the first.
Panic button's getting slammed, and not for just this year, for the foreseeable future, because they're stuck.
There is no panic button on this team. This is the norm for them. But let's dive a little bit into their schedule real quick. Let's play When Will They Win? All right. They have the Browns in Cleveland next week. Cleveland favored by 6 points. They have the Cowboys at home Thursday Night Football. Will they beat the Cowboys?
Probably not.
They travel to Seattle to face the Seahawks. Possible?
That could be a win. That's their best chance out of the 3. That's their best chance so far.
Let's keep on going until we get a yes or a probably. All right. Next, we have the Bengals traveling to New Jersey to play the Giants. You think they win that game? No. Sunday Night Football, by the way. That's a stinker. Then Philadelphia travels to New York to play the Giants. Huh?
No.
All right, next, let's travel to Pittsburgh to play the
No.
Steelers.
No.
All right.
No.
All right, here we go. The Commanders travel to New Jersey to play the Giants. Huh?
That game was already close once. It could be close again.
It was close once, yeah.
But here we are. Here's the moneymaker right here in Munich. 9:30 a.m. Munich. We're pronunciating the way us Americans would. Overseas against the Panthers.
That one's probably a dub.
I'll give him a
Now,
win there. Yeah.
Picture this scenario. Both teams are 0 and whatever.
The toilet bowl.
Whoever wins
gets the
loses out on the draft pick.
Yeah.
So who wants to win? That'd be fun. That'd be really fun. But then after that, they got the Bucks, the Cowboys, Saints, Ravens, Falcons, Colts, and Eagles again.
Shit, by the time they play the Panthers, it might be Andy Dalton versus Drew Lock.
Man, I will say this: Bleak Neighbors is fun to watch, though. He's gonna be good. So,
all right,
have him.
Moving on from that fiasco,
he's not dog shit.
The Denver Broncos, and I'm going to explain myself here. I'm not hitting the panic button on the Denver Broncos. Because this is just the reality of the team that they have. Like, they're not panicking. They know they're bad, and they knew they were going to be bad. And this is a rebuild year. So, for that reason, I'm not hitting the panic button. Because I don't think there was any expectation to begin with.
Dog shit.
That means yes. I would hit yes because they spent a first-round draft pick on Bo Nix, and so far, he's their leading rusher with 60 yards. Whoa. He currently has passed for 384 passing yards, which is cool, but only averaging 5 yards per completion. No touchdowns and 4 interceptions so far. Not off to a very hot start at all. That's bad. Wow.
Dog shit.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the Titans. Right down the road from me.
Slamming it?
We're slamming it, bud. Will Levis. Will Levis looks like hammered dog shit. Like quite literally. Yeah. I don't know what he's doing. He's just beating himself. Just boneheaded mistake after boneheaded mistake. Meme after meme.
You know what's funny? They're favored against the Packers this next week. The over-under
game.
The over-under on that game is 36.5, and it's at Tennessee, so that is definitely a revenge game. Going back to those old stomping grounds.
I should go to that game. Those tickets are probably fucking dirt cheap.
Let's see what ESPN says. Tickets as low as $111. They will drop
ASAP. That. I will say I'm hitting the panic button because I will say this: when your quarterback is playing so bad that your rookie head coach goes to the media and it just goes on a fucking rant about how bad you played, like, you have to strike a certain nerve for a coach to lose full composure like that. So, yeah, I would hit the fucking panic button. I wouldn't. If he keeps this shit up, he'll be benched by next week.
I have a very unpopular take. I don't think they should hit the panic button. I think they're a good team. I think Will Levis is just bad because Will Levis has lost both those games.
Who's their backup? I can't think of them off the top of my head.
Marcus Mariota still play
there. Mason Rudolph.
Oh, hell, bring Mason Rudolph in. He had that run for the Steelers last year. Fuck it. Let that fucker cook.
They're done.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to a team in the same division. There's 3 teams in this division on this list, and the second one is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hit the fucking panic button and hit it hard. You just made Trevor Lawrence I don't think he's the number 1 paid quarterback now, but he was there for a minute. But everybody's getting paid right now, so they just keep leapfrogging each other. They have not won a game. Out of their last 8 games, they've lost 7 of them. The only team they've beat, guess, Carolina. So their next 4 games though: Bills, Texans, Colts, Bears. there's a very solid possibility they could lose 2 to 4 of those games. So
Yeah.
and T-Law doesn't look good either.
No, you got to hit the panic button on this team. Just don't know what else to say. They just need to figure something out.
I think Doug Peterson gets fired before the season ends.
I could definitely see that.
I will say this: they're averaging like a decent amount of yards per game. Like last week, they had 300 plus yards, but they're like last in the NFL in points per drive. They average like 1.4 points per drive, so they're just not finishing shit out. Like they're just getting stalled in the middle of drives, and they're just going up and down the field and not getting any points out of it. So, and T-Law's also 30th in the league in completion percentage, so that's never good. Probably only behind like Will Levis and Bryce Young, honestly. If I had to guess off the top of my head, that would be 31 and 32. But yeah, moving on to another team in this division, the Indianapolis Colts.
Trying to pull up the stats to fact check White on the completion percentage because I think he's right. But Colts, yes, hit the panic button. Anthony Richardson, great fantasy quarterback. He, no matter how bad he plays, I mean, he threw 3 picks and he gets you probably like 10 points. White, it's a floor, just because he can rush the ball. Yeah,
it still sucks.
Terrible game. At least it gets you 10. I mean, a non-mobile quarterback's floor is like 4 points. But
Tua got like 5 last week.
IRL, he's just not there yet. Like he either runs or he's throwing it deep. He's got to learn how to function in offense and keep the chains moving. So I'm panicking on the Colts for this season.
Hey, what's that stat about Anthony Richardson, about how many games he started since like high school? Wasn't it like a super low number? Like
it wasn't a lot because I don't think he started till like his last year at Florida.
Yeah, I think it's like less than 20.
The bottom 2 in completion percentage is Anthony Richardson with 49%.
Dang.
And Jordan Love at 50, but he's also played 1 game.
We don't count him.
Anthony Richardson, as of last week, had only played 17 games since graduating high school. He played 13 games in college. He played, I think, 3 games last year and then 1 this year. And now it's 2. So he's played 18 games since graduating high school.
I wouldn't hit the panic button until the next couple of weeks if they don't get a win. I think this is what they kind of expected with him. I think they weren't expecting too much this season. So, I mean, this isn't the worst start in the world.
This is his rookie year, really.
Yeah.
I mean, but
they drafted him knowing what he is, and that is like a project.
He kind of reminds me of like a Trey Lance with the team giving him more time.
And the 49ers, I'd be mad about that. That's a terrible comparison. That makes me want to.
Well, I think the thing with Trey Lance with the 49ers was the 49ers weren't in a position to give Trey Lance time to develop. They needed it was time for them to go now. But moving on to a team that some people would argue shouldn't be 0-2 after this last week, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm not hitting the panic button on Joe Burrow. It was close. I think if T. Higgins would have played, it would have been even. You could argue they would have won.
I'm not hitting the panic button for one reason, and it's because the Bengals always start the season slow. Kind of like what Chase said earlier, it's not how you start. A lot of times how you finish. As long as this Bengals team can manage to just stay afloat and just get in the playoffs, they ain't even got to win their division. Just make a wild card spot. They could beat anybody. So I'm not panicking yet. If they lose next week to the Commanders, we can revisit this.
Yeah, I'm being a hypocrite. I'm hitting the panic button. Reason being, it is how you start sometimes. And Jamar Chase is killing the culture of that team, man. Which
he's fucking crashing out, dude.
Yeah. But I don't blame him though. Like I don't blame him at all. I think that he has the right to be upset, but obviously, you can't lose your team games by.
You gotta in the game. You gotta keep your composure there. Like he was just shoving Joe Burrow aside, just trying to go at that ref for no reason.
Yeah, what was the report that came out before the game? Like he doesn't intend on signing with them because they told him one thing and like it just never happened. I think that's what it was, which is crazy. That that screams like bad management, and that's terrible look for the Bengals.
All right, and the last team on this list staying in that division is the Baltimore Ravens.
Go ahead, Wyatt.
I'm not hitting the panic button on them. I think they'll be fine. It's just been, they had a tough week one matchup, and then the Raiders game kind of is like a trap game. I feel like they played down to their competition and they got.
I'm not hitting the panic button, but they got to find a way to close games because both the games they've had this year, Chiefs and us, the game was right there in their hands and they let it slip. So they just got to figure out how to close games, and the offensive line needs to get their shit together. And then I think this team will take off and be really good.
This is one of those ones where I think we should revisit it in a couple weeks because they got the Cowboys next, the Bills after that, then the Bengals. Then after that, they play the Commanders. Hey, who knows? And then they had the Bucks, Browns, and the Bengals later on as well. It's not an easy schedule.
No, they got the Eagles down there too.
Yeah, we suck.
All right. So, moving on. Week 2 power rankings presented by nobody because we don't have sponsors yet. No free shout outs.
Later.
Huh?
We do. We'll talk about it later.
Oh, so we do have sponsors. Shout out to all of our amazing sponsors that I don't know who they are. That's tough. So Chase, Kendall, who wants to start? Actually, never mind. Kendall, you're not going to get to start because the best of it side of the conference or the NFL goes first. NFC. Chase, kick us off.
Sorry, we'll save the best for last. It's fine.
No, my rankings. You're right.
No, hell no.
I'm gonna show you guys some visuals. Here we go. So, if you're watching on YouTube, guess what? You can see this is my power rankings. We're doing tier lists. So we'll start at the top of the list, which is the top of the pack. It's a survival tier list. Top of the pack are the Saints, Bucks, Seahawks, and Vikings, as they are the only 4 undefeated teams. You get that. You're top of the pack.
That's weird to see. I'll tell you that.
That is. In the hunt, you'll see some decent teams. You'll see the 49ers, the Lions, the Falcons, and the Cardinals. Cardinals look good. Falcons beat us, so naturally they're above us. The Lions lost to the Bucks, so they fall, and the 49ers lost to the Vikings, so they fall. Now, I will say this. Originally, I had only 2 teams in fighting for survival, but I was like, that looks weird. I can't have that. I'm not going to reveal who those 2 teams are because that might make some people listen to this particular show mad.
So the Bears and Commanders.
As you can see, the first 2 teams on there were in fighting for survival. So we'll go fight for survival. We got the Bears, the Commanders, the Packers, the Cowboys, and the Eagles. I'm so down on the Eagles right now, probably because it's Tuesday. It's the Monday after the Monday Night Football game. I would put them on life support if I could, but that doesn't make sense. Cowboys got absolutely demolished by the Saints. Packers have Malik Willis as their quarterback. Jaden Daniels barely beat the Giants. If the Giants had a kicker that was healthy, they probably would have beat the Commanders. The Bears, Caleb Williams scares me at this moment. I think he still is going to be good, but right now they're fighting. On life support, we got 3 teams who are 0-2. We got the Panthers. Who would have guessed? Got the Giants also there, and then the Rams. Obviously, it feels weird putting the Rams down here because they were like a playoff team. Like everybody's predicting to go to the playoffs and be like a surprise team. Injuries happen. It can derail a season, and so far this year it has derailed their season. But we'll see. It's only week 3 going next week, so we'll see what happens. Thank you, guys. That's my power rankings tier list. Go Birds.
Hey Chase, you want to pull that up with the AFC one, like a blank one, and you go as I say it?
Yeah, if you can stall for 3 seconds.
Oh no, you're good, bud. So anyway, while Wyatt gets on his phone, while Chase pulls that up,
I'm pulling my game picks up for the next segment. So.
Okay. I just want a visual cue of
AFC.
There we go. All right, I'll go in order of how they have it down there and make it easier on you. Raiders, how convenient. They're in tier 3. I have 5 tiers, not 6.
Okay. Okay. Get rid of this. Delete, bro. All right. There's your 3.
All right. Raiders are at 3. Well, this would have been Chase's fighting for survival tier. Great win. Cloud 9 this week, but we still got to clean some stuff up to do anything. Ravens are also on life support just because they're 0-2, so same tier. They took a big drop. You're going to notice there is a glob. Yeah, third tier. There's a glob of teams going to be in this third tier. The Bills, they are in the second tier, which would be in the hunt. I think they're a good team. They're 2-0, but I still think there's something missing from that team. Bengals, they're also in the third tier fighting for survival. I'll just speed run this because there's a lot of teams in here. Browns are in that tier. Broncos are an ass. They're in the bottom tier. Your season's over, bud. I know Chase didn't have any teams in season's over, but I do. Texans get a jump to S tier. I think they're one of the best teams in the league. I don't think they have many holes. Yes, they are winning close games, but they're still winning, and I just like that roster a lot. Colts go into tier 4. They are on life support. Jags also on life support. That team can go to S tier. Fuck them though. Chargers. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I've got them in the glob and B. I just don't think that they're a great team. And I hate them, so that should come by no surprise. Dolphins are also in the glob. For one reason, Tua got hurt. He just went on IR today, right before we started recording. I don't know if y'all seen that or not, but he's going to be out at least 4 games. He may not come back. He may retire. I don't know. Patriots, I have on life support. Now, they are playing great football. They beat the Bengals, who have historically sucked in week 1, and they were competitive against the Seahawks. So we will see. I'm going to keep them there for now. I'm not going to say the season's over yet. Jets are in the glob with B. So are the Steelers, and the Titans are on life support. Now, the reason I have so many teams in this glob is because, A, you may look at it and be like, well, how are the Ravens and the Jets or the Steelers in the same tier? Because the Ravens are 0-2, the Steelers are 2-0. I think if you ask anybody, the Ravens have a better shot to win the Super Bowl than the Steelers. I don't think that's really an argument. So I think between those kind of factors, record, roster, kind of everything together, these teams, there's hardly any separation right now. And it's just going to be time will tell with the glob of teams I have there.
All right. No fancy graphic for mine, just straight knowledge and ball. Wyatt's Power Rankings presented to you by, I don't know. So teams that fell off the power rankings this week. Dolphins and the Rams. See ya. You fell off the mountain. Honorable mention goes to all of the 2-0 teams that I put as pretenders. So the Vikings, Seahawks, Pittsburgh, and the Chargers are all honorable mentions this week. So starting in at number 10 was week 1's number 3, the Dallas Cowboys. You get your ass spanked by 40. That's where you're ending up. Number 9 was a team not on the list last week, and that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So props to them. Number 8 was your honorable mention from last week, and that's the New Orleans Saints. Number 7 was who we had at number 5 last week. That's the Detroit Lions after a loss. Number 6 was our number 4 last week, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. Number 5, moving up 1 slot, even though they lost, was the Philadelphia Eagles. Because pretty much every team in front of them lost. So, and they lost 2, but not as bad. And the Falcons aren't terrible. So, number 4 jumped up from number 7, and that's the Houston Texans. So, congrats to them. Number 3 was number 2 last week, and that's the San Francisco 49ers. And number 2 was our ninth seed last week, and that's the Buffalo Bills. So they jumped from 9 to 2. And number 1 stays as the Kansas City Chiefs.
That was
So
a terrible
just
top 10.
Bro, you did much better last week.
Just to recap for everybody back home, that's Cowboys, Bucks, Saints, Lions, Ravens, Eagles, Texans, 49ers, Bills, Chiefs. I will say this to defend myself. So I look at my sheet, of last week's tier, my rankings. Number 1 won, number 7 and number 9 won, and then everyone else lost. So it was like a clusterfuck to try to navigate. Who did I want to drop? Who was dog shit? Who lost to a pretty decent team? Well, all these teams lost in front of them, so they have nowhere else to go but up, like the Eagles. Like, when you got the 49ers, Cowboys, Ravens, and Lions all losing, and the Lions lost to the Bucks, the Ravens lost to the Raiders, the Cowboys lost to us. Well, fuck. I got to put somebody in 4-2, so it was a hard week to pick.
You know what, buddy? I can't believe I'm telling you this right now. You should have gave your own team enough credit there. They should be higher than what you have them 8.
I didn't want to jump them from honorable mentions to like fucking 2.
I would have.
I would have.
I almost put the Texans at 2, but then I
Have
thought
you seen how dominant your own team looks?
I'd have put him at 1 if it was me.
I mean, I'm trying to stay realistic. I don't want to get overhyped and overconfident. I just want to be, cautiously optimistic as I tend to be.
Well, buddy, whenever the Saints beat the Eagles next week, you can move them up some more.
When the Saints will beat the Eagles next week, they're jumping. They're going to take a Bills type jump. They're going to go from like 8 to 2.
Also, the Bills at 2 is crazy.
Also, the Bucks at like 9. That's crazy.
There's not many 2-0 teams that are on the honorable mention list.
I'm gonna take us all back to whenever this podcast was going, because Wyatt repeated himself right there from years ago. I said a couple years ago there was absolutely no reason the Giants should be on the Wyatt's top 10 power rankings, and you know what his response back to me was? They're 2-0. So there you go. The Bills, you are fucked.
All right, boys. Well, let's close out the show with a little bit of game picks. And let's kind of talk through these on who we have. But we'll go ahead and start Thursday night. NFC East divisional matchup. Patriots travel to play the Jets.
I think this is a snooze fest of a Thursday night game. And I expect the Patriots to be competitive, but I'm taking the Jets because I don't know. I just don't trust the Patriots, even though they're playing competitive right now.
I'm going to take the Patriots. I don't know why. My gut just says Patriots. So, give me the Patriots.
I'm going to take the Jets. Moving on to Sunday, 12 o'clock. The New York Football Giants travel to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Browns.
Giants are dog shit. I'm taking the Browns.
By the way, the Jets are favored by 6.5 as of today. On this game in particular, Cleveland's favored by 6 points. Tickets are as low as $48. Give me the Browns.
I second what Kendall said. Moving on, Chicago travels to Indianapolis to take on Anthony Richardson and the Colts.
Taking the Bears. Bear down. Caleb Williams is going to get a second win of his career, and the Colts are struggling against the run so far. Let's see if the Bears can draw up a different game plan for this game.
Anthony Richardson is not a very accurate quarterback. The Bears' secondary is pretty good. So, with that being said, give me the Bears. The Colts are favored by 1.5, though.
Bears money line.
Bear down. All right, moving on.
Sorry, guys.
Houston travels to Minnesota to play the hot Minnesota Vikings.
I'm going to take the Texans. Hot take, Texans win by 17 or more. I think the Vikings finally fall to reality here.
Houston's favored by 2.5 points. But I think the Vikings win this game. Give me the Vikings.
Oh wow.
We laugh now.
I think Houston will win, not by more than 17, but I think they're going to win. Kaimi Fairbairn is a weapon in himself. So, moving on to another game in the 12 o'clock window. Philadelphia Eagles travel to the Dirty South, to the New Orleans Saints.
I don't have a dog in this fight, so I'll go first. I think this is going to be a great game.
Shit.
I think it's going to be close. Give me the Saints. They're too hot right now to start the year for me not to pick them here. So give me the Saints.
It depends on if I'm obviously going to pick the Eagles to win. Do I think they're win right now? If we did this show tomorrow, totally different mood probably. But we're not. We're doing it tomorrow. We're doing
Or
it
if
today.
the Eagles just played on Sunday.
Yeah, just something else than what happened past day or so. But AJ Brown might play, might not. I'm taking the Eagles. Saints are favored by 2.5. Hey.
All I'm going to say is the Saints come out. You know, that fucking offensive line's fucking built different, bud. That defensive line for the Eagles sucks. Bryce Huff overpaid. It's going to do nothing again this week. And give me the Saints by 3.
Talked all that shit to say by 3.
Hey, Saquon's really good. We haven't played a good running back yet. And we haven't played a mobile quarterback yet. So I don't know how our defense is going to fare up. So we'll see. But give me the Saints. Moving on. Chargers at Pittsburgh. I'm just going to go ahead and say this before fucking Kendall goes, Chargers win.
Fuck Steelers win this game. Chargers are dog shit.
I know who can chase Spigot. He called him a fucking contender.
What? I call them both contenders.
True. Battle of the Chases contenders. Battle of my pretenders. But
hey, give me the Steelers. They're also favored by 2. Low scoring game though. The total was 35.5.
I kid you not. Let's clip this and make sure we talk about it next week. There will be over 100 rushing attempts in this game. I'd be willing to bet that. 100.
That's a lot. 100?
A lot. I know, but both fucking the Steelers are averaging like fucking 45 a game right now.
Okay. So let's say the Steelers running backs and the Chargers running backs somehow combined for 70. So that's 70 carries to the running backs. That means Justin Fields would have to run. I'll give Herbert 3-4 scrambles. So that means Justin Fields going to have 26 carries of his own. No,
I think that the running backs of both teams combined for 80 plus.
I don't think the game's long enough for that. I think at some point the clock runs out.
The clock's going to keep moving, bud, if you're running the ball.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, it's wild. These teams run the fuck out of the ball. But all right. Chase, did you pick? Yep. All right, moving on. Denver travels to Tampa Bay to take on the Bucs at home.
Give me the Bucs. Broncos are dog shit.
Fair enough.
This one's also a low scoring total. 39.5. Tampa Bay's favored by 6.5. So give me the Bucs to cover that.
Out of 39 points, I have Tampa Bay scoring 30 of them. Give me Tampa Bay. Moving on. Green Bay travels to Nashville to take on Tennessee Titans. Malik Willis revenge game. And I have Malik Willis getting his revenge. Give me the Packers.
I'm also going to take the Packers, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the Packers. I think Will Levis is going to throw away or fumble away the game for the Titans.
If he does that for the third straight week, Brian Callahan might come on the field. Might walk out on the field.
How would he do that?
Yank his fucking ass off of it. Feel like a fucking Pee Wee coach.
The joke went over your head. All right, never mind. All right.
Damn.
Yeah. It's all right. All right. My turn, I guess. Tags is for you. I'm picking the Titans.
All right. Moving on.
We'll check
First
the slate
game
wrap on Sunday. Chase will have the Packers. I see that shit happening all the time, Chase. Don't think I don't see it. You pick somebody on here, and then come Sunday, you got the other team winning.
My gut changes, injuries happen, all that fun stuff.
First game of the 3 o'clock window. Carolina travels to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. Give me the Raiders.
Give me the Raiders. But I would have rather played Bryce Young. But with that being said, we should win this game. No questions asked. So give me the Raiders.
Kendall picked the Saints. I'm picking the Panthers.
No, he will not pick the Panthers.
I was going to say, that's a bad team to be spiteful in favor of.
He will not pick the Panthers.
No. All right. Miami travels to Seattle. Obviously, Skylar Thompson will be the starter for the Miami Dolphins. With that being said, give me the Seahawks.
Seahawks 3-0. I would have not guessed that, but I think that's where they're heading. I'm also taking the Seahawks.
I'm gonna take the Dolphins. I don't know why.
No, the fuck you're not.
I swear to God, I am. I swear that one won't change. I don't know why. I just feel like the Dolphins.
For my fantasy team, I hope that results in a good showing. So I hope they play well. But moving on, Detroit travels to Arizona to take on the unconscious Kyler Murray.
By the way, that spinning out of a sack, throwing a 40-yard touchdown, looking away. Oh, that was beautiful. Give me the Lions. Give me the Lions. They're going to bounce back after they beat themselves. They're going to run the ball a little more and not have Jared Goff leading the league in pass attempts right now. So give me the Lions.
I'm gonna take the Cardinals. I don't trust Jared Goff. Man.
Chase is just fading me.
I'm going to take Detroit in this one. Moving on, the 0-2 Baltimore Ravens take on a Dallas Cowboys team whose ass probably hurts just a tad bit by Sunday from that ass whooping. So give me Baltimore Ravens.
I think both these teams are going to come into this game pissed off. The Cowboys got embarrassed. Raiders stole one that they were not favored to at all from the Ravens. But trust the Ravens a whole lot more than I do the Cowboys. So give me the Ravens.
I'm taking the Ravens, but in my head, I can just envision one of those crazy, stupid games that everything goes the Cowboys' way, and I end up mad.
All right. Moving on, San Francisco travels not very far to LA to play the Los Angeles Rams.
Give me the 49ers. Those injuries to the Rams are just way too much, bud. It's just way too much. Don't do it. Don't.
Taking the Rams.
I'll take the 49ers.
I'm also going to take the 49ers.
I thought about it, though.
I would have been contradicting myself from 40 minutes ago if I picked the Rams. Moving on to Sunday Night Football. Kansas City takes on Atlanta. Back-to-back primetime games for Atlanta. Look at them. That's odd. Give me Kansas City, even though they're playing in Atlanta.
Give me the Falcons. They're gonna find a way.
Oh yeah, roll your gut, baby. Take the Chiefs. I'm mad at the Falcons right now, so I'm gonna take the Chiefs. Ask me again. Ask me again tomorrow. My change.
Odd thing about this week, there are 2 Monday night games this upcoming week,
which is dumb, by the way. I hate that. I hate that.
Oh,
6:30 and 15.
I think it's one of the better ideas they've ever had because I get to split my screen with the YouTube TV thing, get to watch both. I love it.
All right. First game. Neither one are great games. That's the shitty part. First game, Jacksonville takes on Buffalo. Give me the Bills.
I'm also going to take the Bills. Jags ass.
I'm also going to take the Bills.
And the final game, the much anticipated matchup. The Washington Commanders take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Give me the Bengals. Chase.
Oh, I'll throw my left hand up, by the way.
Oh.
Is that who you're taking?
No, I'm not taking the Commanders. I'm taking the Bengals.
Kendall?
I don't know why. But something is telling me to take the Commanders.
Chase has the Bengals starting
Uh,
0-3.
No, I can't. I got to take the Bengals. But, Wesley, if you've made it this far, I do think y'all keep it close.
I don't.
I do. I think they do.
All right. Boys, this is the end of episode 3. Talking about all things week 2, a little bit about week 3. And I just want to shout out the people who are probably still listening to this right now. Cody, Gardner Minshew sucks.
You
Wes,
take that back right now, bud.
I'm not talking to you right now. Wes,
No, that's
Jayden
my
Daniels.
quarterback. You're talking.
We'll remove Kendall. Let him get mad.
Wes, I love Jayden Daniels. Be rich.
Are you
Fuck
kidding
you.
me right now?
Jake, Logan, bear down for this week and this week only.
Buddy, you better put some respect on the NFL's leader in completion percentage right now.
Cody, I just want to reiterate. Gardner Minshew.
Your ass. No, all right, give me the Eagles.
All right, my time to shine. Actually, thanks to everybody who's listening, because for some reason people listen to this show more than any of the shows on our network. So thank you to everybody who's listened, and it goes across YouTube and Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Amazon. For some weird reason, people use Amazon Podcasts, but thank you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's the end of the episode. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Look at all of our shit on other apps: Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. I didn't even know they had a podcasting app. Good to know. But make sure to check us out. Make sure to check out our previous videos if you want to see if any of the shit I said the last episode is wrong now, because it probably is. And with that being said, go Saints. Who dat?
Shout out Gardner for coming down 10 points against the Ravens, fourth quarter. Raider Nation.
Go Birds, but we suck.